What's up guys, Beau here, and we're looking at this speed painting of Jon Snow. I say speed painting because it took about 50 minutes. So while this is playing, I'll talk a little bit about what I'm doing on the painting and what's on my mind and what was going through my mind while I painted it. So one of the first things you'll notice about this piece as I'm drawing it is I don't have any lines. I'm not sketching this out. I've got a brush and I'm using big broad strokes to fill in values and shapes. And the values and shapes thing I kind of preach about on a lot of my videos. So there's a reason that I'm executing it this way, and the reason is because I think that whenever we resort back to lines, we get caught up on the details of the piece that we're trying to paint or emulate or create. In contrast, painting like this and using this method to study is really beneficial because what you're realizing as you're painting is, hey, there really aren't any lines. I'm looking at light, I'm looking at shadows, and it's teaching me something. Now, that's not saying that line work can't teach you anything, but I'm really learning about how light is hitting the face and the different planes of a face, you know, where the cheeks are and how the overall shape of a face is, as opposed to just working on sketching out a nose for 30 minutes. So when you're playing with these lights and shadows and plucking in the shapes like I've been talking about, what you'll notice happening is your artwork starts to come together a lot faster. So I want to share something with you guys. I had an epiphany the other day, and it came to me from working on something for like 2 or 3 hours. I was sketching this chick and, you know, doing the eyelashes and eyes and, you know, adjusting this and that. And I kind of looked back after it was all said and done and it wasn't even completed, and I was thinking, you know, is this really studying? I mean, I know that anytime you put the pen down to paper, you're learning something, but how constructive was it? How much was I progressing by frustrating myself and spending so much time on one piece? And that leads me up to this point is, why are we spending so many hours on one piece when we could just be studying what we need to study and move on? I think we get so caught up in trying to make this grand picture so we can put it up on Instagram or Facebook, and I'm so guilty of that. And that's fine. You know, if you need to see that every once in a while, confidence is very important in the art world. So I just want to say that before I continue so you don't get the wrong idea. So I play guitar, and I've been playing for about 17, 18 years. And a few months ago I realized, man, I've been at a plateau on skill level for about 3 years now, and I haven't really done anything about it. I'm not a bad guitarist. I actually think I'm rather good, but I hadn't grown in that skill. And the reason is because I was just expecting that skill to naturally come to me because of my seniority in guitar. We sit back thinking, man, I've done this for this long, X amount of years, or months, or whatever. And you think, why am I not getting better? I draw every day. Well, the simple fact is you're not practicing what you suck at. You're staying with what you're comfortable at. And I think that that's a really big issue that we all have, and we just need to wake each other up because it's a tough pill to swallow. You know, we like that pat on the back, we like that pat on the shoulder. We don't like to do, you know, noses or eyes or do something like this where you're messing with values all day because it's scary. It's scary to step away from your comfort zone. Anyway, so take that piece of advice and apply it to whatever your weakness is, whatever you're scared of, because you're never going to improve your artwork if you just keep doing what you're comfortable with. You have to make those mistakes. And I posted something the other day. The difference between an expert and a beginner is the amount of mistakes the expert has made. So be proud of your work to an extent. You know, definitely be critical of your work, but also don't think that you have to feel obligated to put out these amazing, spectacular pictures. You know, it's way more important to do your studies like this and learn a quick lesson rather than spend hours and hours and hours drawing Deadpool. I got involved in a comment war the other day with a guy because we were talking about this, and I was saying, man, this piece, like, it's just kind of a weird piece because this person wanted critiquing, and this other guy was like, no, it's awesome. And I'm like, well, there are a lot of flaws with it, And he's like, you can't say that there are flaws with art. Art is subjective. And I'm like, yeah, you're entitled to your own opinion, but on a technical level, there are still many things wrong with this piece. So if you ever take one piece of advice from my channel, all these videos, let it be this. Do not be like that guy. Don't have that mentality, because you're not going to get any better if you just keep thinking, well, everybody has an opinion about art. Somebody's going to like my art. Yes, somebody will like your art. That's probably very factual. But are you working to get better, or are you just working to have 13 likes on Facebook? So be productive with your studies and be organized. Think before you start drawing, okay, this is what I want to achieve. You know, with this part right here, I'm so scared of coloring faces and humans and things like that. And I just made it a point. I knew that everything that I'd done up to this point was leading up to me coloring it. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to figure out if I have to use soft light, if I have to use multiply or overlay. And I just kind of played with it. And you know what? It was really worth it. This is one of my favorite pieces that I've done, because I just had a completely different mentality to painting this piece rather than just sit down to draw Jon Snow. With that being said, there are definitely a lot of upgrades I'll have for next time I go to draw a face. And that's what this is about. You know, it's a study. So I'm practicing. It's band practice. So I hope that you've gathered something from this. You know, it's important to pull away something other than, wow, this art looks cool. You should have another goal in mind, like, hey, I learned about values and how to do a face without line work. That's what I learned from this entire study, actually, is how to do a face without line work. I also hope my rant wasn't too distracting. You know, I feel like I can talk comfortably to everyone here and give advice, because this plays in the background, and I think it's pretty self-explanatory of what's going on. I'm just using different layers and painting. So I don't think there's really a need to be one of those guys that's like, okay, I'm doing a new layer, and I'm painting, and I'm using this color, because you can kind of clearly see what's going on there. What happens on the canvas is very important, but what happens in your brain while you're putting things on the canvas is equally important. With that, any questions at all, let me know in the comment box below. Please do not forget to hit that like button. It really helps my channel out. Subscribe as always if you haven't subscribed, and share. Thanks, guys.